Oh, yeah, it's me. It's your boy, the Louisiana Country Boy, coming at you live once more again. Also, what I need for you to do, sit back, relax, put on your headgear. Oh, my worthless 2 cents is about to put something in your ear.
Oh, look at here. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. And guess what? Old Country Boy started on time. And look at him. Hey, I'm gonna tell y'all a secret about starting on time. Look at here. 8:05 on the dot. I am here. I am here. We are here. But look, before I get started, I'm gonna cut my phone off because if somebody call me and be like, hello, look, but before I have to do that, look at here. I want to tell y'all something. Let me get this thing over here because I'm finna show talk. I'm finna run my triple trapper real quick. Y'all, look here. You know the show was at 8:05. Hey, Miss Julie! You know the show was at 8:05. Y'all, I was in here setting up, just blah, blah, blah. Look, it was 7 o'clock. My guest was already on here at 7, y'all. I said, I ain't used to this. Boy, look at him. She was, and then she talking about, well, what time? I said, we started at 8. She was like, bye. Look, she was prompt and ready. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Look here. Look here. I said it before. I'm going to say it once more again. Grambling, Louisiana. Ruston, Louisiana. Salisbury, Louisiana. Fellowship. Arcadia, Monroe, Dubuque, and Giblin. If I miss anybody, oh, well, I missed y'all. Look at here. And all the rest of the world that is listening in right now. We are about to have a treat. This young lady right here who is gracing this platform, I'm so honored to have her. She's a hometown girl. She's a hometown girl, and I am honored to have her. So what I'm going to do is I am this time, for real, I got a big old drink over here. I ain't finna say nothing. I'm going to just sit up and shut up and sit back and rock. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to be quiet because I'm going to allow her to tell her story, her journey, her way. And understand this, that we've all been somewhere. And guess what else? We all going somewhere. I'm grateful that she graciously came and accepted the reservation to come to the table. Y'all, somebody accepted a reservation to come to the table with the country boy. Wee, Lord have mercy. Oh, man, that's a thing right there. But look here, it is an honor. It is a privilege to have you tonight. So, without further ado, I love using that word. Without further ado, that's my new word. I'm going to just keep it. What I need for y'all to do right here, right now, sit back, relax, put on your headgear. Oh, Miss Williams! Put something in the ear. Have your way, my friend. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Donnie. I appreciate it. I really, I'm humbled by your even asking me to come on to your show. I do watch you. I wasn't really sure what to expect, but was excited that we did get an opportunity to kind of debrief. And you let me know that I had really full autonomy to share whatever it was on my heart today. So I really appreciate that. Um, for those who may not know me, you probably read the biography that Donnie had put together, but I'm from Grambling, Louisiana, born and raised, the home of the one hall school that we know as Alma J. Brown, Grambling High School. Attended all of Grambling's schools, the kindergarten, the one hall elementary school, the one hall junior high school, the one hall high school. I think there were 47 people in my graduating class. So, real country girl. Always felt like I knew I was a country girl. I felt like that there was so much more in the world that I needed to experience. At the time, I really didn't know how I was going to get there, right? But I do recall 14 years old, it was late at night, which is what my mom would typically do if she was going to have really, I call them healthy conversations with her best friend. And I had gone to sleep, but I woke up out of my sleep to hearing my mom kind of, it was a whimper, like she wanted to cry, but she was trying to hold it in, right? And so, being the inquisitive child that I was then, now inquisitive adult, I crawled down the hallway. And as I crawled down the hallway, I heard my mother saying, Mayfield, Miss Mayfield was her best friend. Mayfield, they said that my daughter is never going to be anything.
Mm.
And she said, and I don't know why, because my baby is a good baby. She said, now, if they came and told me that she got smart with you, or that, she got a little flip at the mouth, I could believe that, because that's my child. But to say that my child isn't going to be anything, and so I guess on the other end, Mrs. Mayfield's rebuttal was, well, why would they say that? So as it turns out, myself and another young lady, who shall remain nameless at this time, we were what I would consider to be overly developed for our age. But is that by any doing of our own, right? It wasn't. We had no control. We happened to be really shapely girls who had things that people pay for now, which are the bigger boobs, the bigger butt, right? We had it. We didn't want it. We didn't even know what to do with it. Didn't even know why we had it. But growing up in a small town, sometimes there are myths about young girls who are made in that fashion. And so there were people who made the myth a legend. And so what they said is that myself and another girl who happened to be my friend, that we weren't going to be anything because we had to be running around Grambling, sleeping with all of the little boys, because no little girl's boobs should develop like that, and no little girl should have a butt like that, and they certainly shouldn't have a waistline. They're only getting that because they're sleeping around. And it mortified my mother. And it mortified her best friend too, because my mother, again, she knew me. If you say my mouth was flipped, yes, that's my child, but running around, sleeping around, that wasn't that. She was like, no, I can say without question, that's not my child. And they went on to say that she's going to have a bunch of babies and be walking around, Grambling, back and forth across the railroad track. Now, I don't even ever recall me taking a walk across the railroad track, so I couldn't imagine myself, older and walking back and forth across the railroad track with children, but okay, I digress. And then she's going to live on Brenda, that's my mom's name. She's going to live on Brenda with about 10 kids. That is what, that was the jacket that had been placed on me because of my appearance that I had no control over. So that night, in lieu of going directly back to bed, what I did was I pulled out my handy dandy diary. And this was before journaling was considered popular. Back in the day, we called it writing in your diary. So I've always journaled, based on today's standards. So I went in and I started to journal. And I said, I don't really know what I want to be when I grow up, but I know enough about me to know what I don't want to be. More importantly, I will not live up to this name that people have given me. And so I said, I'm going to graduate high school. I'm not going to have any children out of wedlock, because again, that was the jacket that had been placed on me. No disrespect to anyone who took a different route, but this was just what I said because of what had been stated about me, right?
Right.
So I said that I was not going to have any children out of wedlock. I was going to graduate high school. I wanted to be Miss Grambling High, but guess what? I was too afraid to even run for Miss Grambling High because these people had planted these seeds of doubt in my mind that subconsciously, perhaps, I had taken on what they said about me, right? While I was always relatively confident, there was always this thought in the back of my mind that said, well, maybe what they say about me is true and I just don't know it, right? That's why people, parents, adults, we have to be very, very careful about information that we feed to our children.
Yes.
You know, most of the insecurities that children feel are taught. They're either taught by some, I'm going to call it an ignorant adult, because you have to be ignorant to say those things, or it has to be taught by a learned behavior from peers. There may be peers who subscribe to those same philosophies that the parents did, because maybe they heard it and they say things, and we hold on to that,
Yes.
subconsciously or otherwise. So I said I was going to be Miss Grambling High. I said I was going to be Miss Ninth Grade. They call it Miss Freshman now. But I went on to be elected Miss Freshman, Miss Ninth Grade. And when I won, I didn't even believe that I won.
Wow.
So I started to think, maybe I'm not so bad. Maybe this stuff that they're saying, this jacket that they put on me, maybe it's not going to be a deterrent at all. Maybe it's something that's going to propel me to a next level, right? So as I continued to grow, I became a little bit anxious about running for Miss Grambling High, because I was thinking I'm not good enough. Why wasn't I good enough? I wasn't good enough because I'm walking around carrying all of these thoughts and ideas about myself that I didn't create on my own. I had just taken them on. I really had planted those seeds. They planted them, but guess who watered them?
Yes.
Me. Because I didn't know any better. And so I went on through life for a little bit, becoming what I will now say is self-proclaimed insecure, right? And whenever I use the word insecure, people are like, you've never given us any, perception that you're insecure. You have no idea the level of insecurity that I felt through high school. And so then here I am, back to the night that I wrote in my diary or a journal. I said that I was going to be Miss Freshman, accomplished that, chickened out on running for Miss Grambling High School, but shout out to Sonia Vernon, who won the year that I was in high school. I did say that I was going to go on to college. I was going to major in marketing, and because I wanted to be a fashion designer, only to discover that I couldn't sew really well in high school. And Miss Janetta Collins said, "Now, Shanyvette, I know you said you want to be a fashion designer, but you can't even properly hem, and you can't sew a button on."
Hey, Shanyvette. I made a tie in this college class. I just want you to know.
Donnie, I made a pair of green shorts, and one of the legs was longer than the other. It was a mess. And my mama had taken me to Morgan and Lindsay's to get me a simple pattern. So it really should have been simple, but it didn't work out that way. But I go on to college, and immediately, of course, I revert back to what I'd written in my diary. I knew that I wanted to go to college and major in marketing. After finding out that I wasn't necessarily going to fare well in the fashion design, I was like, oh, what am I going to do with this degree once I get it? But okay, I'll figure that out. In the meantime, I'm going to go to college. I'm going to keep my head down. I'm not having any babies still out of wedlock. I am going to pledge Delta. That I did. Shout out to Delta Iota, spring 1990. I pledged with 46 other beautiful young ladies and wouldn't have had it any other way. I met lifelong friends, but still, Donnie, there was something in me that I wasn't sure of myself. I would start out that way, but that little voice in my head from the seed that these people had planted, every once in a while, that old man would just rise up inside of me. Yes. And a lot of times I would talk myself out of many, many things because I kept thinking, oh God, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. Case in point, I didn't know that I could sing. I knew I wanted to be in the choir, but I didn't know I could sing. And so I joined the choir because we attended Mount Zion Baptist Church in Grambling. And Miss D, she said that she heard me when we were harmonizing. And she said, baby, I want you to try out this song. Oh my God, I cried and I cut up and I cut up because one, I didn't want to let her down. And she was my elder, so I wanted to follow follow instructions because I was a good kid, not disrespectful. So, but then I was thinking, but what if I can't sing? These people have said I'm going to be all of these other things. Surely I can't sing. Surely nobody wants to hear me stand up in front of, a group of people. Some of them, the people who said what they said about me, attended the church. So I'm like, how is it that I'm going to stand up here? If I do one solo, then that might mean that there's going to be many to follow. And I got to stand up here and I got to minister through song to people that I know have placed a negative jacket on me and are walking around with a negative connotation about me because of my appearance. But anyway, I did it, and the rest was history. Didn't even think about the people while I was ministering because it wasn't about them, right?
Right.
So I go to Grambling, and as a part of what I'd written in my journal diary, I said, I'm going to be a wife. I'm going to have 2.5 children. I'm going to have a White House and a white picket fence and a dog. I don't even like dogs. But I had watched Leave It to Beaver.
Oh my God.
I had watched Leave It to Beaver, and oh my God, I thought that she just had the best life. Oh my God, she was a kept woman. She was always just so, she was always pristine in her appearance. Her hair was always in place. She had on makeup. Even in the black and whites, you could tell she had on makeup. And she was always just prim and proper. And she put the dinner on the stove. And when her husband came home, she served dinner to the children and her husband. That was me in my head. So before I graduated college, I did meet who would soon become my husband. Met him at Grambling, and it was a little chase, but I enjoy a little bit of chase. I think everybody does, whatever. But I said I'm not going to get married and or have children until I graduate college, and so I did. And as he pursued me, I fell in love with, at the time, and still to this day, the man of my dreams. The man of my dreams. When I thought that God could not make a perfect person for me, here he comes. And it was almost surreal. Like this can't be happening to me again. Seeds of doubt that had been planted in my head, at the age of 14. And so now I'm a young adult, thriving and surviving. I've moved, to Dallas. I've gotten a job, landed a good job that I've now been at for 32 years, blessed and highly favored in that regard. So my husband and I immediately at that time decided that we wanted to start a family. And we wanted to start a family right away. And who was more excited? Me. Because remember, I had written that in my diary. 2.5 kids. 2.5. I don't know that you could get a half a kid. So immediately we began to start to plan our family. We said that what we were going to do is to have 2 children because we sat down and talked about it. And the reason that we came up with 2 children is that we wanted to give our kids a really good life, right? We weren't independently wealthy or anything, but we were making a good living for ourselves. And we knew that if we wanted to give our kids the kind of life that we'd envisioned, the 2.5, maybe not the 0.5, but the 2 would certainly be fine, right? So we ended up getting pregnant with our first child probably a year after getting married. I'm all excited. I go out and I buy this thing where you can listen to the heartbeat. You could put the thing in your ear and put the little thing to your stomach. That I was that parent.
Oh, you was excited.
Yeah, I was her. So only to get to about 4 months and I miscarried. Devastated. So the doctor shares, here's the deal. You African American women are more likely to have miscarriages than any other ethnic group out there, right? Doesn't mean that every time you get pregnant you're going to have it, but typically, the first one, it's likely that that's going to happen. So we tried again. A year later, uh, about the same time, I miscarry again. So now we're at pregnancy 2, right?
Wow.
Long story short, we ended up being pregnant 9 times.
Wow.
I miscarried 7 children. I gave birth to 2 children. One's named Kennedy, one's named Kai. Kennedy was stillborn.
Mm.
Kai was born and she cried a little bit. I reverse it. Kai was stillborn. Kennedy attempted to cry. And you know how after you have the baby,
Right.
but nah, it wasn't working, right? So I'm like, okay, Lord, I'm not understanding because I planned my life out. And I'm thinking, man, I see all of these people around me who had kids out of wedlock. Remember, because I didn't want that to be me.
Right.
And it was like rabbits, right? They're thriving and surviving. The kids are doing well. If they decide to have 2 more, they have 2 more with no problems. And then here I am, I can't even, couldn't even get 1. So started to kind of question God at that point. God ain't scared of me, right? He knows when we are questioning him or when our faith is wavering, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, God, I don't understand this. First I have this setback that really could have set me all the way back had I listened to the voices, right? But I managed to overcome that. But I was like, Lord, I don't know if I'm going to overcome this because I only wanted to be a wife and a mother. So after that, the doctor, it was really taxing on the brain. And so my doctor suggested to me, he was like, Ms. Williams, the bottom line is the decision is yours, but I would not recommend that you all try again because that you're putting your body through a lot, but mentally and emotionally, that's taxing. And so I would encourage you. My doctor was a praying man, and he said I would encourage you to pray about it and, seek counsel from God. On whether you want to continue down this path or whether you may want to consider other forms, right? So we started to talk maybe 2 years after that. I fell into a deep, 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 deep depression. I'm talking, I would go to a mall and if I saw someone pushing a baby carriage, I was happy for the person. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't that. I wasn't jealous, I wasn't envious, nor was I coveting it, but it just made me think this could have been me. And so here I find myself, this is not going to be me. So I have to figure out a way to still be able to celebrate other people, including my friends who are all having kids and I'm attending baby showers. I had to still find a way to work through that. And to be honest, I could not do that alone. So while most African Americans were running from therapy or thinking that just because you go to therapy, you're crazy, I was running to therapy.
Mm.
So I immediately got a therapist. I enrolled myself in practical counseling and I enrolled myself in spiritual-based counseling. So I was in counseling in my church and I was in practical counseling, which I'm still in to this day. Because I believe you can't fix what you don't face.
Amen. Amen.
And so, because it will keep you locked in a space, it will hold you hostage if you allow it, right?
Yeah.
And there were some other things that I needed to work through that past hurt from, the 14-year-old girl.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know that I was still harboring all of those things until I entered therapy. And, a question or two kind of made therapists step back and say, hey, let's talk about that. I see how you kind of danced around it and just quickly ran through it, but let's stop there because there's some unresolved trauma that you have that you've not even dealt with. So let's talk about that. So I was also able to, really overcome some other things and that were hindering me. it was hindering me. I say that, Donnie, because I had created this in my head. Everybody was against me.
Wow.
Back to that 14-year-old girl, everybody was against me. Nobody believed in me. And then as I began to work through it, it was like, but Shanyvette, you're putting your focus on the wrong people. Love who loves you. Do like people do when they're making a cake, right? You know how you put the flour in the little sifter thing?
Yes, that's
There
it.
may be some lumps and thumps that fall into that sifter, but they don't go into the bowl that made the
Yes.
cake, right? That goes in the trash. So I had to start processing information that way. Information that comes to me from whomever. I take those things that are critical to me and my growth, and those other things, they remained in the sifter because they go in the trash.
Yes.
But I didn't know that before. But thank God for growth, right? So 9 pregnancies down, working through that, and I find myself, guess what? About to go through a divorce. Many years later. Not many years, a few years post, losing my kids. And so I'm thinking, okay, God, this is definitely not what I had in mind, because see, when I was 14, God, you remember when I wrote my diary?
I told you what I wanted.
I told you what I, yeah.
2.5.
Yeah, see, Lord, I had told you. And so I thought you said that in your word you would not withhold any good thing from me. And so to me, this man and those kids and my marriage were good things. So how are you withholding that from me? And so here it is, another layer that I've added on, because now I'm about to be divorced with no children. Mother was excited about being a grandmother. She was like, baby, I want those babies to call me grand. So I just had this vision of coming home for Christmas and holidays and homecoming, and we're all packing up in my mom's house with my husband. So now, no kids, no husband. So Lord, what are you doing? Because I'm not seeing this. So you would think that was it, right? Not hardly. Within the year that I was getting ready to go through my divorce, I had filed. I get a phone call, and I'm at work, and it's my aunt, and she said, Sean, you need to get home. And I said, why? What's going on? I said, where's Mama? And I could hear in her voice that something wasn't right. And she said, your mom passed out in the yard, and they had to rush her in, and she's swollen, Sean, beyond recognition. And I thought, Lord, what is this? 9 miscarriages. I'm going through a divorce now. My mama. You talk about a Job moment. So I immediately get in the car and I come home, and I get to the hospital, and I walk in the room, and so the doctor, he's coming in trying to tell me that they're going to do some exploratory surgery because they don't understand what caused her to pass out, nor what it caused her to swell. So I'm standing at her bedside, and so they said, Ms. Williams, can we get around you real quick? We're just going to take some vitals. And I said, okay. My mom reached for me, Dunn, and she said, baby, don't leave me. I said, Mom, I'm not going anywhere. And as soon as she reached for me, they screamed cold blue. Her eyes had rolled in the back of her head. They rolled in the back of her head, and that thing went straight. So they rushed me out of the room. Well, tall tales say that I destroyed the nurse's station. Now, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true.
They got you on camera, girl.
But it was
me.
because I'm thinking, that's my mama. What am I gonna do? I'm losing everything. So over the night, they come to tell me that she's not going to make it, and that I needed to make a decision on whether I wanted to pull the plug or not. So the answer to that was no. So her entire time laying there in a coma, both her lungs had collapsed. She'd had a stroke and a heart attack, and she didn't even know she was in the world. So what I did at every visitation, 8:30, 10:30, 12:30, 2:30, 5:30, 8:30 p. I went into her room. I sat bedside. I read a scripture to her. I said, Mama, your name is. Mama, you are. I gave her age. Mama, you live in. Mama, you live on blank, blank, blank road. Mama, you have 5 sisters and brothers. Their names are blah, 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 blah. Every day, every day, every day. So I had been here in Louisiana with her for a month. And so I made arrangements with my job that I was going to come back. And they said, well, what you can do, Sean, is every Thursday, just leave. Go back and be with your mom and go Thursday through Sunday. And then, come back and do it again. I did that for forever. And she, maybe, it was months. But I get a phone call on a Thursday when it's time for me to come back that says, your mom woke up.
Wow.
No lie.
Wow.
So she had to learn to walk, talk, eat, everything again. But she did it. Because what I saw with my mom my entire life is that nothing held her back. The only thing that was going to stop her was God. Because see, my mom was also a 2-time survivor of cancer. So I saw a 5'3" Black woman with no help from a husband or anything create this being that is known as Shanyvette, kept her dressed well, made sure that she had her foundation secure with God, not just going to church, but knowing him and building a relationship with him for himself, for myself, taking care of her family. That's what I saw with my mom. She always worked hard. So it's like, if anybody can overcome this, she can. Probably 10 months into her recovery, I'm back, working regular, but still coming once a week. I get a phone call. Guess what? My mom and my aunt and another friend, they were coming up Tech Drive. Right before you get to right there where Domino's is, and they're coming from Old Ramblin' Road. So they're driving this way, which means that they're going to have to make a left, right? My mom's sitting in the back seat. A young lady is coming over the hill, and guess what she does? She's going 75 and a 40.
Wow.
She crashes the car on my mother's side, caves the car in, broke both my mom's legs, both her arms, ruptured her spleen. Her ankles were broken. Anything that could be broken was broken.
Wow.
She had another stroke and a heart attack on the scene. They airlifted her to Shreveport. When I got there, the doctor, thank God, he was another praying man. So, God always has a ram in the bush, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah.
So I get there and they say that it's like my mom, trying to help my mom at this stage, it's like saying that they're going to take a car that's been totaled and repaired. That if she makes it, she'll be a vegetable.
Wow.
Who defied the odds? My mother did. So the woman that they said would never walk, talk, or do any of those things again, she did all of those things. With, a lot of hard work and, tons. Dunny, I can't even tell you how many hospital stays that we had in those 17 and a half years that my mom was sick. But it was a lot. We were doing a lot. And there were many, many setbacks, where we thought we were going to lose her still. But she always managed to overcome. And so in December of 2021, I get a phone. I call home because I call home every morning and I said, Mom, girl, what you doing, girl? And she said, oh, baby, Mama just finished eating her 2 cheese toasts, a piece of bacon, a sausage, and some grits with some cheese. I said, oh, Mommy, girl, that sounds so good. She said, oh, baby, it was good to me. I said, well, that's her little saying. It was good to me. I said, oh, mommy. I said, that's so good, girl. I said, I'm so glad you. I said, what you want to eat for lunch? She said, I don't know what I like. Because what you don't know is that she developed dementia as a result of the lack of oxygen to the brain and all that stuff over time. So over time, dementia started getting a little bit worse. So she said, she would always say, well, what do I like? And I said, girl, you know you like that chicken from Church's or chickadilly, girl, with you a pepper and a roll. No, I didn't say a roll. She said, yeah, not a biscuit, a roll. And so later that afternoon, I get a phone call that says, you know, Shiny, mom's not doing good. We think we're going to have to rush her in. And that my aunt had told me that they called the ambulance. And if you knew my mom, she made no fuss. But this particular day, she said, is the ambulance here yet? So she wanted to go.
Oh, wow.
So I'm talking to the doctors as I'm prepping to leave to get ready to go. And I can't find my driver's license. I can't find my debit card. So I can't go nowhere if I don't have no money. I ain't got no gas in my car. The very thing that my daddy always said, always keep gas in your car. I had no gas in my car. And he always says, always keep $200 cash somewhere. I didn't have that. So I said, okay, what am I going to do? So I said, okay, my credit union doesn't open until 7 in the morning. So I just stayed in constant contact with the doctor. So he said, it's around Christmas, you know, Mrs. Williams, we're going to get your mom back home like we always do. So I'm excited. I'm feeling hopeful. Maybe not excited, but feeling hopeful. Only to get a call maybe about 11 o'clock that night that said that they couldn't regulate her body temperature and that it wasn't looking good. So the next morning, I'm feeling a sense of guilt because I can't find the driver's license, can't find the debit card, so I'm delayed in leaving. But I go on and I do what I need to do. So I get on the highway. There was no rain in the forecast. None. Sky opened up.
Wow.
Pouring down as I'm traveling up I-20 trying to get to I'm flying. Get through the rain, probably get to Tyler, and it's an accident. Delays me again. So as I get closer to the Shreveport line, I start getting phone calls, which is a little bit odd. And so one of my friends, she said, Vet, where are you now? And I said, well, now I'm almost in Arcadia. And so when I got to Arcadia, I said, I don't feel good. I pulled over on the side of the road and I started throwing up. Didn't know why, but I just had this uneasy feeling. So she said to me, between the time you get to the hospital and where you are now, don't answer the phone unless it's from me or Mark. So I said, but why? Because that didn't make sense to me. So I said, but why? And she said, just trust me, just don't. So I said, did something happen to my mother? And so she said, no. So I get to the industry exit. You know where the industry exit is, right? So I get to the industry exit and I start feeling that queasy feeling. So I pull over again, throw up, get back in the car. Here, I'm flying. Get to the hospital, and as I pull in, I don't even turn the car off. I just hop out. I got my purse on my shoulder, and I see my family lined up. I said, what room is she in? And so, you know, my brother Mark, he said that your mom, she didn't make it. And I said, no, what do you mean she didn't make it? And so I beat myself up about that too.
Uh-oh. Hold on.
Knowingly or otherwise, I've always kind of been a little bit of a people pleaser.
Right.
Don't really know why, but just did that because again, it was that what I heard in my head at 14, maybe thinking that if I do everything the way that somebody else wants me to do it, that will make them like me, love me, or accept me better, right?
Yes.
And so I felt bad that I may have let her down, that maybe she wanted me there, right? And so I go in and I get to see her and I start recalling our conversations. And so she told me in the summer, she said, baby, mama's gonna need you to be a big girl. You gonna be a big girl for mama? And I said, Mama, yeah, I'm already a big girl. She said, no, mama needs you to be a big girl. So she repeated that multiple times to me, and I'm thinking, we're just talking because nothing's going to happen to my mom, right? Because she's overcome everything that's been thrown at her. So I'm not thinking anything. So right before Christmas, and I think it was at homecoming, she asked me if she could put up her Christmas tree. So my Aunt Mary said, Donda, that's what they call my mom, Donda, it's too early for a Christmas tree. And she said, and I recalled it as I was standing over, she said, it'll be too late.
Mm.
And she said, baby, are you going to put up my tree? I said, Mom, I'm about to go get it right now. Long story short, I went, put up the tree. She wanted the lights to stay on and she wanted her star to stay on. I said, Mama, why you want those lights on, girl? She said, so I could follow the light.
Mm.
And I said, okay. So in retrospect, as I look back at it, she was preparing me in her way. I think that's what I have resigned myself to believe, right? Don't care what anyone else believes about that, but that's what I've resigned myself to think. And she wanted me. I'm a mama's girl. I'm a titty baby. My aunts made fun all the time that my mom would never let anybody hold me. And they would always say, girl, nobody want to hold your little ugly tail anyway. That's the running joke. With your little crying tail, nobody want to. That's why we didn't babysit you. It's a joke though, right? But my mom was very, I was her pride and joy, the apple of her eye, as she was mine, right? And so at the end of the day, why do I even share any of this with you? I share it for multiple reasons. One is I share it because I learned really, really quickly through all of those Job moments, the loss of the children, the loss of my husband, the potential loss of my mother at that time, and what ended up becoming the loss of her on December 17th, 2021. I thought I didn't want to live. I did not. I didn't try to kill myself at that point. No, I didn't, but I didn't want to live. I wanted to live in that bed and I wanted to curl up in fetal position, and that is where I wanted to stay. Until I don't have an until tomorrow or next. I just didn't want to be. I didn't want to be in the world at that time without my mother, because that was, if there was anyone who made me feel like I was worthy other than God, she made me feel like I was worth everything. Anything that anyone said against me, my mother had always had this amazing rebuttal that made me believe that I could take on the world and I could be anything that I chose to be. And so in her absence, in her death, I'm like, how do I go on after that? And so I began to ask myself, how do you go on? And so I know one of your questions is like, what is your why, right?
It is.
My why is pretty simple, maybe complex to others, but simple to me, right? Simple to me in that my why is I wanted to overcome every stereotype, every jacket, inappropriate jacket that had been placed on me. I wanted to overcome that and be better than what people thought that I was going to be. More importantly, I wanted to overcome the limitations that I had placed on myself because of what someone else had said about me.
Yes.
Do I still struggle with those things today? I do. But I'm better. I now believe and trust that I am living the life that God intended for me to live. I am living it in a way that is pleasing to Him. There may be people who know me when my mouth used to be super, super flippant. And don't get it wrong, it can still get that way when provoked. But there may be people who are, who may be judging me because of, oh, she got a divorce. So yeah, I did. So what? Millions of other people did too, right? There were infidelities in my marriage. There may be people, oh, she stayed with her husband. Yes, I did. And you know why? Because my commitment was to God regarding my husband. My commitment wasn't to my husband. So yes, I was going to stay until the fat lady sang. So I'm saying all of that to say I don't um, I don't live my life based on what other people feel about me, believe about me, or say about me. Because every day, I ask God, every day, Lord, help me to die unto myself and become more like you.
Yes.
Every day. And I know that if I continue to walk in that light, that I will become all that He's created me to be. The second thing, and this isn't in any order of priority, the second thing that I would say is my why, is that I want to encourage and inspire some young girls, some middle-aged girls, some, seasoned girl. I want to inspire and encourage them that no one can put a limitation on you unless God does, and He does not limit us.
Amen.
It does not matter what the world says.
Hold up. Hold on. I lost your mic. Hold on, Shanyvette. Let me see if I got you. Yeah, I lost your volume. Hold on just a second. Y'all hold tight. Let's see here. Let's see. Nope, I stick. Oh, hey, go out and come back in. Y'all see this? Look here, boy, but we still gonna keep this thing rolling. Boy, look here. Man, all I got to say is to God be the glory. Man, she'll be back in just a minute, y'all. It has been a old country boy. I told you, old country boy. Just I'm sitting right here, just sitting here in amazement of God's grace. I sit here, and some of us often think that we go through things, and we never know what the next person could be dealing with. We never know what they could be going through. We never know how hard it could be on someone else. All right. There you go, Bill. You back. Yes, ma'am. The devil is a lie up in here.
He sure is.
Not here, baby.
So the final thing that I would say in terms of my why, has a lot to do with my mother, right? One of my goals in life was to make sure that my mom never had to come and get me from a crack house, a jailhouse, the corner of a liquor store, or any other negative house. My goal was to make sure that
Hey, Sean, I missed out on two.
That's okay, Daddy. This is a judgment-free zone. But I wanted to make sure that I did everything that I could to be as successful as I could, so that I would never be a burden to my mom, and that my success would, wherever I was successful in my life, that I would be able to give back to her. She never asked, but I always dreamt of doing really nice things for my mom. And so in my head, the higher I climbed up the ladder, or, the more money I could make, the longer I stayed at a job, that presented me with opportunities to, give back to my mom and to, my nieces and nephews who I absolutely adore. So those are my whys. I hope that in some small way that this has helped someone, even if it's one person, if it's 0.5 people, 2.5 kids, 0.5. Yeah. Hopefully it's helped someone, encouraged someone, that you can still go through Job moments and still come out I mean, amazing on the other side. I think most importantly is that, it's really good to remember that if God brings you to it, He's going to bring you through it.
Yes.
A lot of us believe that the miracles that God performed were only during the days when He walked the earth, right? But He never changed. The only people that change are us. So if He did it yesterday, He'll do it again for you and me and whomever else today, tomorrow, and forevermore. So thank you, Donnie. I appreciate you.
Hey, I thank you. It's, and I was just saying when you were off, is that you never know what someone else is dealing with. You never know the jacket that someone else that has been placed on somebody else. So many things that you said just resonated with me. I'm a well, you're a one timer. I'm a four timer. Okay, I got four of them. Okay, I got three extras, and you talk about the so many things. You talk about the loss of your children. I went through 7 abortions. Um, you know,
It's heavy.
it's a load, and with you, and you talk about your mom. Been there. Um, we lost our mom 2013, December 25th. Um, those things that you those heels, those I'm a little bit different. You and I admire you for the fact that you fought against all the things that were said. Well, baby, this old country boy tried to be the best of everything that they said. And when I say that, and I don't mean it in a negative sense, if you people thought that I would never be nothing, I want to show you today what God takes nothing and what He makes it look like. Because I'm still nothing.
On our best days, we're still yet filthy rags.
Yeah.
None of us are above reproach. None
Yeah.
of us. And we don't. My grandmother used to have a saying, "Baby, don't like yourself that much."
Mm. Amen. Amen. And I admire the fact that you have reached a place to be transparent and open about your journey. See, this place that God has allowed me to just watch over is a place that people can come and share the things without judgment. Because too many people want to judge. Here's the other thing: too many people want to hide where they come from, and they want to hide the things that they went through, and they don't want to, they don't want to seek the counseling or seek the healing. You just think that you can get over it. What I do know is this: wow, yes, yes, God can take a broken glass and put it back together.
Sure you can.
But understand this is still gonna have the cracks in it from where it was broken. But that's the grace.
Yeah.
That's the grace. That's the part of taking up your bed and walking. So when you're back together, even though you got the cracks in you, you want to say, but see, the reason I'm up is because God.
That's right.
Oh, wow. It's and I thank you for your openness, your transparency, and your honesty to share your journey, to share your story, to share it your way. Um, and girl, you let me tell you something. God will restore, rebuild. Ooh.
Yes, all of that. Everything. He God is the only person that can multiply while subtracting.
Mm,
And
mm.
so he's done that in my life. I'm okay. I've lost friends. Um, in losing friends, does it hurt? Yes, because those are people. At a certain point in your life, every friend should become like an extension of your family, right? And so it's like losing a family member. But I mean, pruning is necessary. So God knows best. I'm not questioning that. I'm just saying that it does hurt. I've had people who have said that they love me to turn on me.
Mm.
And it wasn't the enemies that I should have been watching for. It was the friendly fire.
Mm.
um, and I'm okay with that. And I hold no ill will in my heart at all.
Ooh, Sean, I can tell you this. I got this old saying about me. I can't, I'm not nobody else. God allowed me to be broken. He allowed them to break me in front of him so he could heal me in front of them. Sometimes he wants to, this thing that we go through is to give him glory, to be able to share the story, to be able to testify about his goodness and his grace and his mercy. Um, Never deny where God has brought you from. She said it so well. God will never, ever, ever, ever take you to where he won't bring you through. He will never take you to, but you have to trust him. You have to trust the process. You have to be willing and obedient and trust the process. Doesn't mean that it's going to be easy. Trust the process. It doesn't mean that you ain't going to lose some folks. Trust the process. In every step, if you trust the process, trust the process, trust the promise. Because I can tell you, and as soon as she gets back, that what I know for me and listening to her story, what I know is God is a promise keeper. He's a promise keeper. I don't know what anybody else's story is. I don't, and it's not my thing. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, girl. I'm just running my mouth. I don't know what anybody else's story is. I don't know what anybody else's journey is. But what I know is everybody has one, and everybody is on one. Everybody's on this journey, and everybody has a story. Never, ever, ever, ever feel the shame about your story. Because what you're doing is when you feel ashamed about it, you're denying God's grace in your life. And when you said what you said, we all get angry. God already knows. Sometimes we're gonna buff out our chests, okay? We're gonna buff out our chests and we're gonna be mad because we don't understand. But that's why he put that thing in there and says, lean not to thy own understanding.
Uh,
Lean not. Well, son, I thank you. I thank you. And I want to yeah, you give any last words that you want to give, ma'am. You give anything you want. I told you I'm gonna sit back here.
I will say to any young girl, any seasoned girl, you are enough. Um, you can become and be all that you, not only what you want to be, but what God has created you to be. Silence the noise. Listen to what God says about you, not what others say about you, because everyone has an opinion, and that's not your business. I know that for me, and I would hope that anyone who's listening that may be looking for a takeaway. God trusted me with my scars. What to say?
Mm,
God trusted me with my scars, which He does with all of us. All of us don't always do the right thing with them, but He trusts us with our scars, so that whatever it is that we've gone through, it is God's hope, just based on what I know, that we will use those experiences to help someone else along the journey. Because what it will do is remind people that if God did it for Shanyvette, who was walking around with a smile on her face all the time, and you didn't know that she had all of this stuff going on, if he did it for her, he'll do it for you.
Amen. 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 Thank you. Thank you so very much for coming. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for your strength, your courage, but most importantly, thank you for your obedience.
Absolutely.
Obedience. Thank you. Obedience is better than
Better
sacrifice.
than sacrifice.
And you know it. Look here, as we get ready to close, I will say this to each and every one. Good Lord has given you a vision. You know how Old Country Boy closes. The good Lord has given you a vision, which I know he has given everybody a vision because everybody has a purpose. He wasn't just bored one day and say, oop, I'm going to just create you for nothing. Everybody has a purpose. And no matter what other people say about you, no matter who don't like you, no matter who talk about you, who say that you can't, who said you can't do that because you need to be this tall, you need to be this short, your hair need to be this long, your hair need to be this short. No matter about them folks, no matter about the naysayers. The vision that the good Lord has given you, you just keep pushing.
That's right.
You don't quit. You don't quit. And if nobody else tells you that they believe in you, look at here. Old Country Boy will tell you, I believe in you and I support you, because I always say this. If God gave you a vision, who am I to say, Because that's me telling God he don't know what he doing. And I ain't that smart. Trust me. This Old Country Boy ain't that smart. And I sure ain't that brave. And lastly, but not leastly, if you woke up this morning and you open your eyes and you cleaned out your ears and you was trying to hear, but you didn't hear it. Well, if you was out there today, it was a little bit nice here in Houston. So if you was out there today, you was looking around and you thought you was going to hear it, but you still didn't hear it. Well, here it is, 9:06 Houston time. Old Country Boy is going to tell you right now, on behalf of myself and my special guests, all the way from G-Town. That's right, my GramFam, all the way from G-Town. Say this, that we love you. And we love you unconditionally.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to piggyback on unconditionally. Unconditionally means whether you like me, whether you support me, whether you wave when I wave, whether you say hi or not. Guess what? We love you unconditionally, because our love for you has nothing to do with your love for me. Unconditionally. And there's nothing, absolutely positively nothing that you can do about it. Thank you so very much. I look forward to having you back. And maybe in 100 years, when I come back down there,
I will be here.
Thank you so very much. Look, good night to each and every one. I will see y'all. I don't know when I'll see you. Monday. We'll be back Monday for another edition of The Real Conversation with a twist of humor with my co-host, Lil Diva. Thank y'all. Y'all have a very, very blessed weekend. Thank you, Miss Williams.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.